Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Sue Paul. Welcome to this month's episode of Ask Asbury. October is Active Aging Month, and at Asbury, we actually do active very well. But one of the things we don't do as well or talk about as often is the nutritional side of healthy aging. So, joining me today is Tina Reddington. She is the System Director of Wellness and Nutrition for Asbury. So, welcome, Tina.
Hi, thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
Oh, do you think you could tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do for Asbury?
Sure. So, as you said, I am the corporate dietitian for all of the Asbury communities, and I actually am employed by Aramark, but I work for Asbury, and I look and make sure that our menus are all meeting, the requirements. Um, Provide nutritional content. Some of you have done some interactive events with myself and Dan Soley, our corporate chef. We provide nutritional opportunities and fun for the residents.
That's wonderful. Yeah, you're such a valuable resource for the residents of Asbury. But what's great about this conversation we get to have is that we can share it with people outside of Asbury who don't have resources like Aramark and Tina Reddington at their disposal. So we can record our great conversation. I can ask you some good questions, and hopefully everybody learns something. So thanks for being here today.
Absolutely.
Okay, so your first question, what do you think are the most important nutrients for adults over the age of 65, and how do they differ from a younger adult?
Sure. So that can be a little bit tricky. I can speak in general, or, every single individual has their own nutritional needs. Everyone's different, and that holds true with nutrition. However, in general, as we get older, our bodies move a little slower. Things don't work as immediate as they used to. And I refer to some of these nutrients that we need a little bit more of, or we need to focus on, is the grade 8. So those nutrients are protein for muscle. We start losing muscle, after our 20s, 30s, it starts declining a little bit. We don't move as fast. We don't use them as much. So we do need protein to prevent muscle wasting, also called sarcopenia. We need calcium for our bones, building muscle. We need vitamin D. That's the sunshine vitamin. Maybe we don't get out as much as we used to. I don't know if you know this, but we absorb vitamin D through the skin, through sunlight. And as you know, you either cover up more because you don't want to get a sunburn, or maybe you're just not outside as much. So we don't get as much as we used to. Vitamin D also helps absorb calcium. Fiber, it helps with digestion. We might be taking medication that slows down digestion. So it's important to get fiber through our whole fruits and vegetables. Vitamin B12. B12 is great for energy and brain function. So we get that mainly through animal products, but for the vegans out there, you can use nutritional yeast. And there's other fortified foods that will provide that for you. Magnesium. Magnesium is one of those things that we need for sleep. And if you get disrupted sleep as we get older, you might be deficient in magnesium. So take a look at that. Make sure you're getting that. Water. You might have decreased thirst. Water is really important. Yes, you can get it through your foods like soup or Jello, but it's really important just to make sure you're getting enough water. Easy way to do that is to have, one of those drink drink containers, and I know they can get really heavy. So just pour it out throughout the day into a regular cup, and that way you know how much you've consumed all day if you're not really sure. Um, and then the other is one of my favorites, which is omega-3 fatty acids. And they're really, really good for your brain. They're great for your joints. They just have so many benefits that have been correlated to omega-3 fatty acids, which can be found in nuts, salmon, fatty fish, walnuts, flaxseed. So those are my great eight that I would say to find a way to get them into your diet.
Oh, well, those are great tips. I like your water strategy, and I
Yeah.
like the reminder that just some sunlight doesn't hurt. Just to get
Yeah.
outside, get some
Yeah.
sunlight. It's probably good for you.
Yeah.
How about supplements as far as like if you don't get enough calcium, if you don't get enough
Mhm.
protein, like is that okay, or should people really try to steer toward whole foods to get those nutrients?
So whole foods are the best for your body to break down and use, and used in the right quantity. Um, Sometimes you just can't get enough of those foods, and and there's going to be times where you don't, and you do need to supplement what you eat. But ways to get those in your foods, um, I mentioned before fortified foods. Cereals are often fortified with so many different vitamins, minerals. That's a great way to do it. Orange juice. There's an orange juice that I always used to get for my kids because it's fortified with all these other, calcium and vitamin D and all these other things. And I said, you know what? If they're not going to eat their fruits and vegetables, they'll eat their fruits. But if they're not going to eat their vegetables, let's figure out a way to get it through other fortified foods.
Great. That's actually a good segue to my next question. Because as people age, sometimes their buds change, their
Yeah.
appetite changes, and maybe they don't have an interest in food as much as they did.
Mhm.
So it's not just a matter of calorie intake sometimes, but it's the type of foods that maybe they don't want to eat, which is what your kid analogy reminded me of.
Yeah.
So what practical tips can you give for, seniors to get enough adequate nutrition? When they don't find food as appealing.
Sure. So that can definitely be tricky, especially because it can come from so many different avenues. Maybe, like you said, it's the texture of the food. Maybe you just don't feel good and you don't want to eat. Or maybe it just looks so overwhelming and it's the portion size.
Hmm.
Um, in that case, try making smaller foods or eating smaller portions. You know, a good example is yogurt. Sometimes yogurt can come, well, they come in the big tubs, they come in the large cups, and then some are really small, like minis. They look like minis. And maybe that's what you do. You find the mini version, the mini sizes, or you pre-portion something that you're eating, whether it's a dinner, right? Maybe it's just cooking. It could be the portion size. It could be the physical act of cooking something that just is exhausting. So what you could do is make your dinner and portion it out into smaller individual containers. Make sure you mark it so you remember what day you made it, right? And put it in your refrigerator and you have multiple meals. If you're going to the a dining room, or you're going to a restaurant, and the portion is huge and you just can't eat enough, cut it in half and take the rest home and put it in your refrigerator. That could help. Maybe you just don't, your mouth hurts. Maybe it's something physical. And maybe you just would like to drink, you want a milkshake. That's fine. You can always add different things like protein. You can add a protein with calories. Athletes and teenagers use these, muscle milk and protein builders for, working out and bulking up, right? Well, so can seniors.
Sure.
Seniors can use those protein powders in a milkshake, or even in mashed potatoes. You can use vanilla or anything. And if you just don't want to eat food, but maybe something smooth, just because it's takes less energy and it's easier to eat, and that's just what you're in the mood for.
Hmm.
Um, there's always little tips and tricks like that you
Yeah.
can. Mhm.
Yeah, those are great ideas. I know for my parents, we did cut down the portion size, but we also only served one food item at a time because when
Oh,
there's three different types of food on the plate, it just looks like,
mhm.
even though they're small portions, it's three times the portion, you know?
Right.
So we'd start with a little helping of protein, a little bit of vegetable, followed
Yep.
by, and we progressively got sweeter toward the
Hmm.
end. You get the prize, which is dessert, which usually goes down the easiest for
Yeah,
everybody, right?
exactly.
All right. Well, thanks for those tips.
Hmm.
Now I want to shift gears to one of my favorite, near and dear to my heart topics, which is brain health.
Hmm.
And you did mention some of the like the healthy fats and the omega-3s that are so good for brain health.
Hmm.
So, is there any other, you know, um, dietary patterns or things supported by the research that are really important for reducing the risk of dementia?
Yes. um, so one of the most researched and talked about diet pattern is the Mediterranean diet, or the MIND diet. The MIND diet is based off of the Mediterranean diet, but it also is lower in sodium. Ooh, excuse me, and saturated fat. So things that will help with brain health that you'll find in a Mediterranean diet. One, plenty of leafy greens, fruits and vegetables, um, extra virgin olive oil, um, those omega-3s we talked about, with salmon, especially salmon, nuts, um, some of those vegetables, specifically spinach, collard greens, leafy greens, asparagus, all of those items, all of those food items are really great for brain, whether it's executive function, cognition, memory, um, chicken, eggs. Those two proteins, along with fish, are fantastic for your brain. Eggs have choline, among so many other vitamins and minerals. If there's one thing that I would promote, are eggs for seniors, just because of the brain health factor, and they're easy to eat.
Easy. Hmm.
you know so there's eggs, and then the chicken, the old chicken soup, it's good for you. Well, the same holds true with some of the protein and the vitamins and minerals in chicken, promote brain health.
Yeah, I love that. I could eat every day spinach salad with salmon, with walnuts,
Yep.
and an oil-based vinaigrette. And
Yep.
I'm like, and maybe some blueberries or strawberries on top too. But
Exactly.
like just in one meal, I feel like I get all the good things, and it just tastes so good too.
Yes,
That's
yes,
one of my
definitely.
favorite things.
Yes, the super fruit are the berries, the blueberries, raspberries,
That's a good thing to talk about
strawberries.
too, because like you said,
Mhm.
that little cup of yogurt, just you could add a few berries to it, which just ups
Mhm.
the nutritional value, and it's not a lot of heaviness to that
Right.
addition. It's just a yummy, tasty
Yeah,
addition. Yeah, but berries are a miracle. They're amazing.
I love them.
Okay, last question. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So cost, convenience, and cooking skills are
Mhm.
challenges for some seniors. So what are some like realistic, budget-friendly meal or snack ideas that can promote health without, requiring a lot of preparation or effort? Because a lot of people just opt out when it's too hard, myself included.
Right, right. So, like you said, cost, convenience. There are, um, the meal prepping, if you will. Um, if you go to the grocery and chicken's on sale and you buy a package of chicken, but you know you're not going to eat all that chicken. You can freeze it. You can prep your meal and then put it away in the freezer. You know, if you're not going to eat it right away, or maybe you just don't want to eat, you know, chicken tetrazzini. I'm making this up, right? So chicken tetrazzini, I make a lot of it, but I just can't eat it all. I just can't eat it all right now, nor do I want to eat chicken tetrazzini all week. You can put it in smaller containers that you know you'll want to eat that amount and just put it in the freezer. Just make sure you label and date it. And, you know, that is probably the best, most cost efficient, labor, you know, efficient way to cook, prep, and eat. But for convenience, you know, you can just put that in the microwave. That's the top tier.
Yeah.
You know, the other ones where they're made ahead, you know, you rip the plastic off the top and there's maybe some cheese and some crackers and some fruit. They're great, but they can get expensive. They're just the right amount, but they can get expensive. Sometimes they go on, I would say, buy things on sale.
Mhm.
But yeah, those are my
You mean
two.
those little tubs that have the three compartments with like
Hmm.
some cheese cubes and some nuts and
Right,
crackers maybe or something? Yeah.
right, and
Yeah.
they're starting to sell them more, um, with more variety, because
Hmm.
it's always been, Kobe cheese, crackers, and grapes.
Right.
And so now they're coming out with, a more, improved variety in those, maybe it's, you know, water crackers or some other different types of bread, that are in those, little pre-portion variety packs.
Great. That's helpful. Yeah, that's good stuff. The meal prepping thing is always a challenge. Some people are great at it,
Hmm.
um, but it can, from people like me, it's a bit
Yeah.
of a challenge, you know. But I like those tips because a lot of people are snackers, you know, they graze
Hmm.
all day. You know,
Right.
if you could just maybe substitute out something, you know, that's like like a processed cracker, you know, for
Right.
something like a cheese cube instead, you know, like just to make
Right.
those swaps all day and get your nutrients in as
Hmm.
best you can, if you know.
Yeah. And, you know, sometimes you can buy, um, like nuts. Nuts are expensive.
Yeah.
So I am a self-professed chocoholic. Okay, I am. And I know that's one of my vices. So I like to buy the big, containers of nuts. But for me, they put so many cranberries in them, it's too sweet. So what I do is, I cut it with, actually, I don't cut it. I just add more. I add more walnuts because I want more walnuts. I want those omega 3s. So I buy another bag of a giant bag of walnuts and I put them in and I mix them all up in a bowl and I create my own. You can do this, you know, with individual types of nuts and what you like. I create my own trail mix, if you will, and then I throw in dark chocolate chunks of chocolate and I mix it all up and then I create little portion bags so I don't eat the whole thing, which is easy to do, and create those pre-portioned bags for myself. And I'll do that, you know, once, you know, once every few weeks, once a month, and because nuts will go bad if you leave them out for too long. So I put the giant bag that I've created and I put it in the freezer. You can
Oh,
freeze
smart.
nuts and it keeps longer.
Oh, that's a great tip. So make your own trail mix,
Hmm.
freeze the largest portion, make little individual baggies
Yeah.
of it, and make your own snack. I like that. That's so much,
Yeah.
that's cost effective and
Yeah.
healthier than
Yeah.
buying something prepackaged already.
And I
So
do
that's
it
a,
and it's easy because you can grab it and go wherever
Mhm.
you're going and you have a little snack with you. You can throw it in your
Yeah,
purse or your backpack or whatever.
that's great. That's a great tip. Well, thank you, Tina.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to add? Any tidbit of advice you have for anyone before we say goodbye?
Oh my gosh. You know, food is very personal.
Hmm.
And so my recommendation is if you're trying to figure out what should I eat, overall, the best recommendation, the goal that really everybody should be looking to attain is eat a balanced diet. Eat a balanced diet. A little bit of everything goes a long way. Moderation is key.
That's a great tip.
Yeah.
I'll add one thing because maybe I could get you to
Yes.
chime in on this. It is active aging month,
Mhm.
so I have to always spin it back to let's stay active too. But there is something to be said in the research lately for
Mhm.
taking a little walk after you eat,
Yeah.
which helps manage your sugar spikes basically,
Hmm.
and manage your insulin sensitivity when you get up and take a little walk after you eat. And I think that's pretty profound research. I think it's kind of a
Yes.
big impact that they have. So, if you get in the habit after your dinner, just take a 10-15 minute walk or
Hmm.
whatever you can manage, but just getting up and moving after you eat is
Hmm.
helps your digestion, it helps your absorption, helps with your sugar level management, your glucose levels. Do you know what I'm talking about? You've read that too?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's been I used to work in a diabetes clinic
Mhm.
um, in my younger years, and there's been so much research over the years about activity and how you can lower your blood sugars with activity. And you're absolutely right. After you eat, they do this in Europe all the time,
Mhm.
they go for a walk after they eat, and it helps to um, just keep your digestion going, and you do burn off some calories, and it just keeps your metabolism going. And if you and you say, well, I don't have anywhere to walk. Well, even if you're walking the hallways, my sister lives
Mhm.
in a big apartment building in the city, and that's what she does. She has It's a big apartment. She walks up and down the hallways. Yes, it's repetitive, but it's, when you can't go outside, if it's too hot, too rainy, too wet, too cold, too snowy, too dangerous, find a circuit or a pathway inside one of the buildings, and just walk, or even in your apartment. When I was pregnant and I couldn't go outside, I used to do a lap in my house. I would do a circuit down the hallway and around, and I would just walk, and I would walk just to keep myself moving.
Yeah, that's great. And even if you just stand in your kitchen and march in place,
Hmm.
bring your knees up as high as you can, swing your legs out to the side, squat up and down, do 10 reps of each thing. You'll be
Hmm.
surprised how much you probably don't want to just head straight for the recliner. You know,
Yes.
you'll feel like, oh, well, I have a little energy now, so let me keep moving. And I think, versus just headed straight to the couch or the lazy boy,
Hmm.
just get in the habit of getting up and moving. Any kind of unload the dishwasher, do your dishes right then, whatever.
Right.
Just keep moving before you sit
Right.
down with Jeopardy for the night.
Yes. And, if you're wondering, how long do I do it? Um, you know, 20 minutes is optimal, but if you can't, that's fine. And if you're bored just standing there, put on your favorite song and say, I'm gonna march here. I'm gonna walk in place, or I'm gonna walk around my apartment or home, um, until those three songs are done.
Great tip.
It's an easy way to time yourself and hold yourself accountable, because it's easy to just stop. But if you say, nope, I'm going to wait until the song is done, then that gives you a goal.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Super. Well, Tina, thank you so much for this conversation. I know it's been helpful. Thank you for joining us for Active Aging Week or Active Aging Month, which is the whole month of October, because that's really what, as well-being professionals, we're all about. This particular one month of the year is our favorite. So,
Mhm.
so again, thank you for joining us and thanks for all your helpful tips.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Bye, everybody.